What's up, guys? This is Mike, the Real Fifth Beatle, with a new video, an actual proper upload for a change rather than just live streaming. This is going to be the first in what would I consider like maybe just a small series called British Classics, where I kind of look back at a film from the last 20, 30 years of British cinema, which maybe flies under the radar in the United States because some of these films will be quite well known to a British audience, some less so. There's going to be a few deep cuts, even for like people who like follow UK cinema, UK horror. But some of these films deserve wider attention in the States. Obviously, majority of my subscribers, a few that are based in the States, and pretty hardcore horror fans, pretty hardcore fans of films in general. So you guys really know your stuff when it comes to American horror films and American films in general. But thinking to try and put the word out for like lesser known UK films for you guys in the States and for anyone in the UK who subscribe to my channel. That's basically the sort of what I'm trying to achieve with this series. It's probably going to be 4 or 5, maybe 6 films. UK made, UK funded. I'm just will say that UK funded, UK made, and none of this big money stuff that goes on with British films. These are tend to be like very low budget, but very well shot films. With very well acclaimed directors in some cases. So the first in the series is going to be 2004 Dead Man's Shoes, directed by Shane Meadows and starring Paddy Considine, who would obviously go on for bigger and arguably better things. But I mean, he's certainly a great actor. Appeared in Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy. He's gone to do lots and lots of work. But this is in one of his earlier roles from 2004. It also stars Gary Stretch as Sonny, who is our main protagonist. Gary Stretch is a former professional boxer. He's not really a professional actor. He plays the role really well. He's a big, intimidating guy. And one thing you'll notice about this film is it's almost like they're not acting. All guys got like Stuart Wolfenden. He plays Herbie. Toby Kebbell, who obviously went on to, I think he went on to do one of the Godzilla movies, and he did another like massive budget Hollywood blockbuster a few years after that. He plays Paddy Considine's younger brother. Who's called Anthony. And Toby Kebbell's character is slightly, well, he's on the spectrum, some form of autism, quite extreme. But the basic premise of the film is Paddy Considine returns to his small town. He's been on tour with the army for a certain number of years. It's never really stated, but he returns to his small town to find it's been overrun by drug dealers led by Gary Stretch's character Sonny. He has a crew of like 4 or 5 guys who are they're like low level drug dealers, and this is a small town. These aren't like big time drug dealers, but they do rule this small town with with an iron fist. Um, and basically they use Toby Kebbell's character Anthony for drug running, and they also abuse him physically, emotionally, and sexually. You see this in flashbacks. They treat Anthony horrendously throughout. And Richard returns, and Richard's clearly suffering from some form of PTSD. He returns to a small town, and this is, to quote Liam Neeson, a man with a particular set of skills, and he certainly uses them. And he goes to town in his hometown, and craziness ensues. But this isn't a sort of film which this isn't like although there's some serious violence, it's not violence for violence sake. This isn't like John Wick. This is a movie about revenge and ultimately retribution, which, as the film plays out, you'll see that one character certainly gets his retribution. Richard certainly gets his revenge on the town's drug dealers. Um, it's not a slasher film, that's for sure. This is more of a revenge thriller, a psychological thriller in some respects. But there are aspects of, there are slasher aspects. In one scene, Richard dons a gas mask reminiscent of My Bloody Valentine before going to task with a few of the local goons. Um, there's some certainly eye-wateringly violent scenes, later on in the film. And, as the film progresses, there is a twist, which if you're paying attention, you'll see that twist coming, because it's not a massive, gut punch. The twist, it's not something that you don't see coming if you're paying attention. But it's not really about the twist. This isn't an M. Night Shyamalan film. This is all about the story. This is all about, a journey that Richard takes, and a journey that a character takes who, although it only appears in the film briefly towards the end, it's his journey as well. But in terms of how the film's acted, as I say, it's if you're going into this expecting it to be, I wouldn't say it's very well acted, but it's well acted in the fact that it doesn't feel like they're acting. A lot of these low budget British films, if you watch them, it's kind of it all feels ad libbed. There's a scene with two guys in a flat and they're just reading magazines, and and the banter between the two of them is just how two friends would talk. If they were like stoned. In terms of standout scenes, there's a scene with Richard. He appears in a small pub with Anthony. One of the guys who's been stalking walks in and starts dealing drugs. Richard he confronts Richard, and Richard's response is just, it's one of the best scenes in cinema history. Oh, it's so good. Just his reaction and the response. It's when he responds the way he does, and I won't spoil it, the character's face, he knows that this guy means business. And as he's walking away in a later scene, he relays to his friend who he thinks he's just seen, and that's when the panic sets in, because the realization dawns on these gang of drug dealers just who it is who's returned home. And yeah, it's done really well, because each character, one of the drug dealers is, throughout the film, they kind of have flashbacks to what's gone on in the past, and it shows flashbacks to how they've treated Richard's brother Anthony, and you can see the worry in the face that they know now he's back, and they know what they've done to Anthony in the past. They know that shit's gonna hit the fan very soon. Richard is such a, I wouldn't say psychopathic character, but he just seems so totally unaware of any danger that's facing him. He calls out the bad guys in the middle of the street and tells them to come and get him first before he gets them. He tells them where he's staying. He knows these guys have got guns, but he's just so hell bent on revenge that he's prepared to do anything, and he just isn't remote. Another great one scene with him and Sonny, Gary Stretch's character. They just talk in the middle of the street, and he threatens Richard, and Richard just says, I'm waiting for you, come and get me. And you can see Gary Stretch's character, the look in his face. He knows, this may not end well. But yeah, in terms of the ending, certainly, maybe some people be slightly disappointed. I mean, in terms of the twist, as I say, I don't really think it was relevant. I don't think you needed that twist, because if you do watch the film back, you can pick holes in how certain scenes play out, and you sort of do question how did the bad guys not really see certain things that have gone, and then you realise, well, yeah, that could have been done better. But in terms of an overall film, this is a great revenge thriller, a great horror film in a way, because it is quite horrific in a way that only a film set in a small town in England can be. It's not all cream tea and cups of tea in England. You know what I mean? This is like the real England. Um, but anyway, that's enough me talking about this film. If you haven't seen it, Dead Man's Shoes, 2004, directed by Shane Meadows, who would also go on to do This Is England, which is arguably his masterpiece from 2006. Another absolutely essential film, not a horror film in any respect, but an absolutely fantastic film. But yeah, Dead Man's Shoes 2004 is an absolute must see. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I'll be back in another video with another English classic. See you guys later. Bye.